So, welcome. Nice to see you all. Thanks so much for coming. So lovely to see you all. We'll start from a seat. So just find a nice, comfortable seat to rest onto. Ideally, hips a little bit higher, so you've got a nice, long, open spine and hips. Grab either some cushions or bolster or some blocks, something like that. And just find your sit bones and come to a nice, long, open spine and really feel your shoulders relax. So your heart's open, and you can either rest your hands down or up, whatever feels most comfortable for your shoulders. So last week of coming through the kidney and urinary bladder sequence and the movement of energy downwards, so that eliminating force, the releasing, the letting go, the earthing, really nice grounding for the mind, but also it just creates so much space in our energetic field. So this is the last week that we're going to be really working through these elements and the winds of elimination, that Prana Vayu moving down and out. And this week I really wanted to focus on maybe some things that are really stuck in our bodies, in our field. So that could be in our mental field, maybe in the emotional field or the physical field. So whatever's going on internally is going to affect our lives externally. So we may have something that we find we're in a pattern or a loop or a habit or a recurring circumstance externally, but it will be something that we're carrying internally. So even if we can just work through today to really focus on bringing an intention into our field of releasing a pattern or a habit or something that's keeping us stuck in that it's called a samskara, which is like the repeating afflictions and patterns and habits and loops of our mind. And if we can really pinpoint something for our practice today and feel that in our system to be eliminated and to be moved out and released, then we can start to see this transferring into our external world. So we can try to manipulate the external and change and make decisions that affect externally, but really, if we want to see profound change and big movement forward, we always need to come in and figure out what it is that's internal, that's keeping us in those grooves. And it might come round in one circumstance or one lesson, and then maybe in another few months or years or days we see the same pattern repeating, but in a slightly different circumstance. But the root cause and problem or issue will always be the same. So no matter how it's presented to us, we want to really start to look at what is the lesson, what am I seeing here that I can release or transform to keep me moving forward and progressing and not stuck in these loops, these habits, these patterns. Or it could even be something that you're working with that you've had enough of and you really want to just clear the slate and move forward from. So today we're really bringing our attention and focus into that power of letting go and using our physical practice to shift our energetic field into that resonance of releasing and letting go and of surrendering. So just take a few moments in our seat to really connect in and find that space of intuitive guidance and to set our intention, what it is that we want to be working towards and moving through. So just find, again, a nice tall spine if your shoulders are slumped rather than backing down. And just rest the hands down to either the lap or the knees. And begin to close down through the eyes. Just take a few nice deep rounds of breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth with a sigh. Nice slow, long exhale out. And again, inhaling into the belly. Audible sigh as you release the breath out. And just take one more nice releasing breath. Inhaling into the belly. And releasing out with a sigh through the mouth. Just bringing your breath in and out through the nose. And feeling the breath really fall all the way down to the pelvic floor. So we're breathing from the pelvis all the way up to the chest. And as you breathe out, feel the breath move back down again to the pelvic floor. So we're utilizing our full breath capacity and starting to really build that energy of apana vayu, that wind or force moving the energy down and out. Notice any areas as you breathe that feel a little resistant or sticky, and see if you can soften those spaces as you exhale next round. Just elongating the breath slightly, so breathing out just a little bit longer, a little bit slower, and feeling those spaces, whether it's physical or energetic. Soften, surrender, release. And as we inhale, we can breathe a little bit deeper into those spaces. Just taking a few moments here to really connect with your breath, with your physical and energetic body, acknowledging any resistance points, any tension. And quite often when we find those spaces of resistance or tension or tightness or a feeling of stickiness, stagnation, they're areas that will translate. And we can really tap into those spaces to transform the energy of stagnation, of stuckness, and liberate it, to move it, shift it, and in turn shift the energy on an emotional and mental level too. So just take another 2 rounds, breathing in this way. And then allow the breath to become almost effortless, very spontaneous. No need to control consciously. Begin to bring into your mind, into your thoughts and intention that you would like to set for today's practice of what it is that you would like to transform or to release. So again, this could be something emotional or mental. It might be in your social aspect, in your work life, on a physical level. Whatever it is that's keeping you in a stuck pattern or a feeling of stagnation, whatever is not allowing you to really step into that flow state or a space of higher development and growth. Just bring that intention to your mind and say what it is that you want to transform or release, and then also bring in the positive. So what do you want to replace that with? So we create the space and then we can move more aligned or positive energy into that space. Just take your time and repeat that intention in your mind 3 times clearly and really feel it in your heart space. So take a deep breath into your belly and sigh the breath out. Really feel that intention releasing, and then breathe in a sense of dedication to that intention into the belly. Bringing hands into prayer at your heart space and just bow in for a moment. Really connecting in with that intention and yourself. And then slowly begin to open your eyes, and we'll move into our first shape, which is going to be butterfly. It's such an amazing posture for opening the hips, but also for coming into the forward fold and just moving any stagnation around the hips. We find a lot of tension around the hip area, generally from where we sit down all day, or where we're in this kind of rectangular position with the legs and spine. We've got that closing off of the hips. So this is a nice way to liberate some energy here, and also really encourages the energy to move down. So ideally we're folding forward from here. If you need to add any support, you might want to grab some cushions underneath the knees or some blocks. If you wanted to work a little bit deeper, just moving any props out of the way. You can also work with a bolster under the knees or over the knees. This just adds a little bit of weight and helps create a bit of space in the back of the waist, in this kidney area where we want to be targeting. So just find where suits you, and if you need any extra props, and then come into that space of stillness. So ideally we're allowing the head, neck, shoulders to really drop and drape towards the floor. And in doing that, we're going to open the spine and stretch the kidney area, so back of the waist, where we want to target, working into the urinary bladder meridian lines, which are on either side of the spine. And then breathe deeply into your belly. So the more spaciousness we can find in our inhalation, moving the tissues of the pelvis and really filling up with prana. And the slower, the longer, the deeper the exhalation. Really feel your energy moving down and out. Relax the pelvic floor muscles, relax the hips, relax the legs, and just let yourself drop deeply into this space. We're here for around 4 minutes, so it's about a minute in already. Try to actively sense your physical body throughout this practice, letting go. So the muscles softening, the joints feeling a little bit more soft and relaxed. Space opening in the joints, in the connective tissue. Feel the breath is really moving through your body, so there's no holding, no restriction. And the more we can elongate the exhalation, the more we can drop into that space of elimination, of letting go, and help Apana Vayu, this wind, to move the energy down and out. So when we hold on to pain, suffering, when we hold on to patterns, habits, behavior, circumstances or people in our lives that are not in alignment or not in our highest progression forward, we really drop into a space of stagnation and we come out of the flow of the universe. So we're always moving, growing, expanding, changing. But when we hold and we grip and we store, we're just building more block, more resistance, more weight and density. And if we can truly say to ourselves and acknowledge where we're meeting those blocks, those resistances, that stagnation or density, there's always a way that we can move forward into a more positive place. So the world, the universe, God always wants us to move into a more evolved, a more positive, a more aligned space. It's never for our bad, it's always for our good. He's always finding ways to allow us to become more of ourselves, become more aligned with ourselves. But we often cling and hold onto things that are detrimental and often comfortable. So what is comfortable is not always for our highest good. But we tend to go to those spaces because it's normal to us, it's natural, it's comfortable, it's easier. But if we can just take that little leap of deciding, of intending, and then taking that action to move with that decision, surrendering to that decision, the universe wants to support us and will support us to move into a space that's much more beneficial for us. But we have to create the space first. So just last 15 seconds or so here, just take around 2 more breaths. And then really take your time, there's no rush at all to come out. We can just slowly start to pad ourselves back up to a lifted position. Move any props from underneath you. And you can take your hands beneath the backs of the knees and slowly bring one foot to the floor at a time. It might feel nice for you to lengthen the spine, or maybe lean back into the hands and work to sway the knees side by side. Or maybe extend your legs out long. Just take your rebound here for about a minute or so. Feel it into any changes or shifts. Okay. So let's move to Sphynx Pose. Come down onto your belly, and potentially you might want a blanket or something underneath your chest. Even a bolster or a cushion might feel good. And bring yourself to your knees and then come down onto your belly. And you want it just underneath your rib cage where it starts to flare open. This helps to just create a little bit more space if that feels good. And then palms can either be together in prayer or flat to the mat. It's just going to open the chest a little bit more if the hands are parallel in the arms. Or again, you can work with hands supporting your head, cupping around your chin and face. Or you can stack your forearms. Taking the elbows further away is going to create a little bit less of a compression into the back of the waist, into the kidney area. The higher up you lift will create more of that deep compression into your kidneys. So it just depends what feels right for you. And we're here for just 3 minutes from now. So ideally we want to be looking forward, lifting the head up, but with the shoulders relaxing down the back. If it feels more comfortable or beneficial for your neck, you can always look down or rest your head onto your hands. So here, breathing into the back body. Try to find with every inhalation, there's a little bit more extension through the spine. And as you exhale, relaxing more of the musculature of the body. Maybe feeling a slightly deeper back bend happening. Just the last minute and a half. Really bring into your mind the intention once again. You can see this in your mind and around the forehead area. You can repeat your intention like an affirmation, or just sense into what it is that you're releasing or changing and what it is that you're bringing in. Okay, lovely. So just take your last breath here. If you have any props underneath you, just lift up slightly, move the prop out to the side. Bringing your body down to the floor, hands beside your chest and forehead comes down to the mat. Take a breath for a moment. And with your next inhalation, push into your hands, knees and toes and gently come up to an all fours position. Just pause here and feel your spine nice and long. Extending, neutralizing. And then if it feels good for you, you can move through a few rounds of cat-cow. So as you inhale, the belly and heart dips towards the floor whilst the head and tailbone lifts up. And as you exhale, round through the spine. So push the kidneys up to the ceiling, navel pulls back to the spine, touch into chest and tailbone tucks in. Just move with your breath. So inhale is opening front body. And exhale is rounding the spine. If there's any other movements that feel good, please feel free to take that. Moving a little bit of energy through the spine. Let's just take one more round or a couple more rounds of breath. Sit yourself back to your heels, coming into Hero Vajrasana. So, child's pose from here. If you wanted a slightly deeper compression of the abdomen, so we're really working in that downward movement of energy, we can bring the knees and the toes to touch. And then allow the belly to come down onto the thighs. Find a nice long spine. And then pad the arms out. I would recommend using a block underneath your forehead just to keep your spine straight and head in line with your hips so the blood pressure doesn't drop too much. Or if you wanted to work with some extra support, it might be nice for you to take your bolster, maybe some blocks. We're going to be here for around 5 minutes, so just choose which is most comfortable for you. I'll let you know when we're halfway, so if you turn your face to one side if you've taken a prop, and then I'll let you know when to turn your head to the other side. If there's anything going on in the knees, just grab a blanket and you can bring the blanket behind the back of the knees, just to add a little bit of space. Or alternatively, come to lay down on your back and bring your knees into your chest. So you're working in Apanasana, knees to chest. So 5 minutes from now, allow yourself to really drop into the space and find a sensation of settled easefulness, and surrender. You can keep your focus on your breath and really feel that sensation of vibrance and nurturance on your inhalation. And as you exhale the breath out, drop into the qualities of release, of elimination, of letting go. So as we take this time to really drop in and find stillness, we can tap in deeper to our emotional self and really start to see what's sitting beneath the surface. Emotion is energy in motion. It's a thought, it's a feeling, a sensation, something that's happened. It's energy in motion. But often if we've had pain or suffering or trauma or shock, something that's deeply ingrained, then it becomes stuck in motion. And as it holds and resists, creates a block, creates a density, this is where we start to feel a dis-ease. This could be dis-ease of the mind or dis-ease of the physical, depending on how deeply ingrained it is in our energetic physical field. So we hold space for ourselves and come into this still point, we're really allowing ourselves to remove that stuckness on the energetic plane, and finding that liberation. Really allow yourself to feel sensations, emotions, what is in the body, what is arising as you pause here. If you took your head to one side, you can look to the other direction now. Just another 2.5 minutes to go. You just very gently and slowly begin to transition out of the shape. Allow yourself to pad back up to a lifted position. Move any props, if you use them, out to the side. And you can come to lay down on your back. So extending the legs out in front or taking the feet to the floor, knees bent, just taking a moment to allow yourself to settle into yourself once again. Use the breath in whichever way feels good to help neutralize and rebalance. And deep forward fold like child's pose is really starting to move our energy down. So maybe you sense or feel grounded, stabilized, calm. Maybe you feel physical energy moving down towards your pelvis or legs. Or maybe just more embodied and less in your mind. Let's take a more and more rounded breath. And then roll off to one side and press yourself up to a seated position. You can take your legs out in front of you. So if you find that you're kind of rolling back when you sit down, just take a small block or some cushions underneath your sit bones, and then you want to feel that you're just tilting off, and that gives you much more space to lengthen the spine. So take your right leg out long and bring your left foot into the inner thigh. You might want to move the flesh out from the thigh, maybe roll the thigh around. And if you can see here, my knees lifted off the floor, I'll use a prop underneath that space just to push into and bring the floor up to the body. And then angle your body so your chest is in line with this extended leg. We're moving into half dragonfly. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, start to pad your hands forward. You can either keep a long spine if that helps you to create more space in the back of the waist and in the hip. Or if you can find a bit of a deeper fold, maybe padding your forearms down to the floor and folding more deeply in. Or maybe your forward fold is creating more of a C shape in the spine and just letting your upper body drape forward. If you wanted to add a bolster or support, you can bring your forehead to rest on the end of the bolster also. If you need to add any support for the back of the knee, you can bring just a rolled up blanket underneath the back of the knee or ankle to add a little bit of support. So we're staying here for around 3 minutes each side. So find a space to really settle into and then allow your focus to come back to your breath, particularly your exhalation, and maybe starting to find an even longer, slower and deeper exhale. So really pushing into the energy of prana and elimination. Feeling more deeply that sense of release, removal of stagnation, toxicity, density, negativity. Interestingly, the kidney is obviously linked to the element of water. And as we really find our flow in life, and we're creating that cycle of release, of bringing in the new, releasing the old, bringing in fresh energy. We keep moving through those cycles in all aspects of our life. We're keeping in that fluidity, that flow state, and really strengthening the chi in the kidneys, because we're working in that on our entire world, on all levels: emotional, mental, physical, spiritual. And it's interesting how when we come out of that rhythm, when we come into blocks, resistance, stagnation, sometimes we can associate that with a level of fear. And when these meridian systems are out of balance, they correlate to different emotional states. And the emotional state, when depleted, weak, or out of balance in the kidney and urine bladder, is fear. And fear taxes our kidney chi, but it's also produced when the chi is out of balance. So we could also begin to really look at, what am I most fearful in my life? What areas of my life do I fear change or fear progression within? Just coming through a last few rounds of breath here. Maybe seeing if we can drop a little bit deeper with the next few exhalations. And after the next round of breath, with your inhale, slowly start to pad yourself back up to a lifted position, removing any props to the side. And slowly bring in your left knee up, taking the leg out long, and just pause for a moment to feel into any change here. You may sense along this kidney meridian line on the inner leg line from the big toe to the groin, sense of opening or flushing. Nice, and then we can go to the opposite side. So just drawing your right foot into the inner leg line, the left leg. Taking any props or support that you might need on this side, moving the flesh out from underneath your sit bones or thighs. Taking an inhale, lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, begin to come into that folded position. So this side might feel different. You might need extra support prop. You might want to feel slightly different in the side. Just coming into your first edge, your first point of resistance, and pausing, breathing, feeling into that space. Bring the focus back to your breath and really feel into the exhalation once again. Trying to find that deeper space of elimination and release. Maybe can find a deepening into the shape as you find that connection to your exhale. It's coming for our last minute here. Maybe feeling into some areas that you're meeting the resistance, the block. And see if you can find a way to really move through that space or honor that space and tune into what's going on in that area. Those last 45 seconds here. Finish the round of breath that you're on, and with your next inhale, slowly start to pad yourself back up to a lifted position. Move any props out to the side. Take your right knee up and extend the leg out long. And just come into a neutral position. So maybe it's taking the legs out, or you might want to lie down onto your mat. And now feeling into this right inner leg line, that sensation of expansion. Maybe you just feel an energy or vibration or clearing. Right, so from here, just shift yourself into the middle of your mat, and we're going to work into a supine twist. We'll just clear some space either side of your mat. Just very gentle, easy twist to release. So come down to the floor, bring your feet flat to the mat so your knees are bent, about hip width apart. So you want a nice opening between your feet. Take them about hip width or mat width apart. Your arms can be out to the side in a T shape, so we're opening up the chest. And feel the shoulder blades glide down the back. Take a nice deep breath in here. And as you exhale, allow the knees to drop over to the left side. So very effortless and easy. If you need a bit of extra lift or support, just take a cushion or a block underneath the knee, and you can look over your right shoulder. So you're taking the twist a little bit higher up into the neck and shoulders. Not here for too long, just around 30 seconds each side. So you can breathe deeply into the belly and feel a nice, slow, deep exhalation. Lift the navel back to the spine and that energy moving downward. Let's take a final round of breath on this side. And for the next inhalation, take your gaze back through to center and slowly bring your knees back to center as you exhale the breath. Move any props to the other side. Just realign for a moment and then you can take the knees over to the right side as you exhale the breath. Again, add any props or support you might need underneath your knees. And then you can take the gaze over to your left shoulder. Breathing deeply into your belly. Helping to move the energy down and out. Let's take a final round of breath here. And with our next inhalation, take the head back through center. Exhale to draw the knees back up to center. Move any props out to the side. Just pause here with feet on the floor, knees bent. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, draw the knees into the chest. Hold around the back of the knees. Just hug them in. Releasing and relaxing the shoulders. And breathe deeply into your belly. If you feel okay to take the hands and arms around the shins, you can interlace the fingers or hold around the wrists or elbows. Drawing the knees into the chest a little bit deeper. And breathing fully into the belly. Relax through the eyebrows, your jaw, your shoulders, your hands, your feet. And really fill your belly up with your breath. And exhale, seeing if you can gently draw the knees closer in towards your body. Just squeezing any stagnant energy out the organs, out the lungs, helping to rid the body of toxicity and waste. So let's take in one final round of breath here. Slowly releasing and moving into Shavasana. So you can take maybe a bolster underneath the back of your knees if that feels good. Add some support. Maybe also elevating the feet might feel quite nice. So taking a block or cushions underneath your feet. Make sure your heels are down on the floor. And maybe also a blanket behind the back of the head or over your body. Or a little cushion. Maybe something to cover your eyes, or you can turn the lights down lower. Once you come down to the floor, just hug your knees back into the chest and extend your legs out. Take up a nice big space for your arms, your legs. And draw your awareness back into your belly. As you inhale, fill the belly, really flood the belly with your breath. Rise and expand. And as you exhale, draw the navel back to the spine. Feel that sense of energy moving out. Really pull the navel all the way back to feel that sinking sensation, and just focus here on the breath moving into the navel abdomen area. And just release that focus of the breath in the navel. But continue to feel with each exhalation your body surrendering and dropping into the support of the earth. So each exhalation, a different area of your body, feeling heavier, more grounded, more supported by the earth, and a sense of deep surrender, deep relaxation. You can work from your feet to your head or the other way around. Just keep dropping and releasing. And more relaxation. More and more heaviness to your body. Sense of complete calm and surrender in your mind. And once the whole body is feeling heavy and rested, allow your mind to gently rest. And your breath moving in and out of the body breathing as a whole. Allow yourself to deeply rest. Very gently and gradually begin to expand your breath once again. Bring your attention back into that flow, prana into the abdomen area. And from this Hara center, your abdomen area, feeling energy flooding out to the rest of your body. The arms, the legs, down into the hands, the feet, and the head. Begin to gently make some movement into your hands, your feet, your wrists, your ankles. And taking any stretches or hugs, sways that feel good for your body. Any movement, sighs, yawns. And slowly allow yourself to come over onto your side. Just pause here for a few moments. Just bring your mind back to your intention once again. Repeating your intention in your mind 3 times. And then slowly with your top hand, push yourself up to a seated position. Just taking again a bolster or some cushions, some blocks underneath your seat. And just finding here a comfortable position to rest into, again closing down through the eyes, just keeping your awareness inward. Take a moment to really feel into your physical body. Into your energetic body, your emotional self. Just noticing, witnessing what is here. And into your mental body, just acknowledging the state of your mind. Taking a nice deep breath into the belly. And a gentle, slow sigh out through the nose or mouth, releasing any final pieces of stagnation. More nice deep breath into the belly. Releasing out with a sigh, a yawn. Feeling any waste releasing from the body. And final round into the belly, through the nose. Inhale. Exhale to release, finding that spaciousness in the body and the mind. Bring hands into prayer. Take a moment to really honour your practice. May with our intention, we move into a space of higher alignment with our truth, with our goodness, and with our Dharma or universal alignment. And may we really honour and give our true gratitude to practice of letting go, so that we can create spaciousness, so that we can feel lightness, and that we can remove toxicity, negativity, heaviness from our bodies, from our minds, from our lives. Make way for that which is of higher resonance. Offering gratitude to our practice, to our bodies, to each other, and to yourself. Namaste.